Welcome to Leaders and Learners. My name is Tanya McKenzie, and you can find me at the intersection of public relations and leadership. Join us as we talk to organizational leaders, elected officials, experts, authors, artists, and personalities, sharing their stories, talking about how they got to where they are and how they continue to learn and lead the way. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Leaders and Learners. Today I have an amazing conversation with you with an author who you've probably actually read some of her work before, but today we are going to chat about her new book and some of the work that she's done, some of the trials and tribulations that she has gone through, and how she has continued to level up and learn and lead the way in her profession, because she definitely does. So without too much giving it away, I wanted to let you know this woman she's a member of Delta Sigma Theta, so a member of the D9 family. Y'all know we have much love for them. She went to an HBCU. We'll get into that. And she is the longest serving Black female White House correspondent in history. So that means that she has worked for several presidents. She has been a part of various administrations, trying to get all that information that we need to make decisions as we move forward as citizens. Listen, I have so much respect for this woman. I've watched her for years, and I'm just happy to bring you Miss April Ryan. Hi.
Hi, how are you, Tanya?
I'm blessed to have you here. I want to get right into it and let you tell us a little bit about your upbringing, because that's important to the story.
Baltimore native, HBCU graduate, came from a working class Black family. My mother was white collar, my father was blue collar. And I, my parents have transitioned this world, and a lot of this book is somewhat of an outgrowth of just the love for my mother and watching her, the strength of a Black woman. Black women will save the world, an anthem.
I love that. Talk to me about that, you and your mother's relationship. And I want to preface this by saying, there's a lot of strife that happens between Black women and their daughters. Okay. But there's also some amazing relationships. I've seen both. Mine was a little tumultuous. I've had some people that have great relationships. And how did that relationship sculpt who you became? Like, talk to me about that.
So my mother was my best friend. We were close. I mean, close. And when she passed away, when she transitioned, I'm going to fix this a little bit. When she transitioned, people were concerned about me because we were so close. She didn't want to tell me that she was dying because we were so close. I was the last one she told. And if I could have willed her to live, she would still be here. But God knew best. And I was pregnant at the time. So I didn't have a chance to properly grieve because I had to keep moving to have a healthy whole child. I was 40 when I had my last child, and it was already at risk. So I had to delay my grief, if you can, and bring forth this child. So, but my mother, oh my gosh, we were close. She exposed me to everything. She was just there for me. And we had conversations. She was that parent. She says, I want you to tell me everything so I can help you navigate the pitfalls. I told her, even if it knocked her socks off. But, we were just really good friends. And I watched her. And not only was she a friend to me, she understood young people. And I'm getting that now because she worked on a college campus. She was at Morgan State University for 42 and a half years. She enabled a lot of those students. But my brother and I were her number one students. And, but she believed in young people. And so I guess the reason why we related is because she related so well with them. And I didn't really just think about that until just now, the relationship that we had, because as I was growing up, she could kind of understand because she watched and nurtured other young people. So maybe that's why we were so close. And I mean, I was a typical kid, and I was, I was precocious, very inquisitive, and I was a lot, but she loved me in spite of being all over the place. And she told me way before she died, she said, I don't know where you get your fight from, but I love you.
Mm.
And I'll never forget when she passed away, when she was passing away, I said, I may not have been everything you wanted, and forgive me, but I love you. She said, who told you that? And she said, I love everything about you. And I mean, and one thing, we did have some tumultuous times growing up, as a teenager. All of us kind of feel our oats, and it wasn't until I saw Beyonce talk about her and her mother's relationship, because they're so close. And she said, yeah, my mother slapped me a couple times, I acted out. I said, okay, good, I wasn't the only one. But but we all go through that ebb and flow, but that bond was there.
So, really quick, I'm a gun violence survivor. My mom was not very straight laced. She was in the streets, okay, and she liked her street life. Growing up, I didn't like her friends. I looked at it like her friends always getting her into mess. And one day I was talking to her, and I said, why do you always got all these, raggedy ass friends around? Girl, she slapped the black off my face. And that was a moment, but I was shocked because she has talked about them before. So I was like, well, I'm thinking we're on the same page. I was a teenager, about 16,
She
starting to
wasn't
sell
ready
my
for your love at that time. She wasn't ready for you. And plus, sometimes mothers like, how dare you tell me? But she wasn't ready for your love and your truth to
She was
help her.
not. I appreciate you saying that because I didn't know what that was, but it also came with a lesson. After a moment, she said, you don't get to judge people. That's not your job to judge people. If you don't like them, you just don't be bothered with them, but you do not go through your life judging people because that winds up hurting you. And that was a moment for me. It was a very, it was a deep moment for me, but I think for her that was a moment too where we started to connect more as I'm not this small child anymore that's just a victim of whatever life is handing me, but being able to make judgments on my own. I wanted to ask you, when did that happen though for you and your mom? Like when did she started to recognize, okay, she's not my child anymore. She's someone I respect her opinion. It clicked that you're coming into your own and she's respecting who you are. Like what was that moment like?
She started seeing it when I was in college. I saw the reins loosen, but she was still around. Especially when I moved out, she was. And I tell my oldest daughter, who's in college right now, she's 20. She says this adulting thing is hard. I said, yep. I said, but you don't need to feel like you can't talk to me. I'm here to help you navigate. It's like I don't just throw you out in the world and that's it. I said, you still have me and allow me to
Mm.
help you or talk to you, talk it through. I get it. You are now an adult. I mean, I went out on my own in 1991. I'll never forget. I lived on my own and I'll never forget. I went back to their home and stayed there until I bought my own home. I'll never forget my father said, you will not come back in this house no later than 2 o'clock. And my mother was like, she's been on her own. And I just said, okay, as long as I'm in their house, and I'm not that girl to stay out. I stayed out all night, maybe once or twice. And I'll never forget, it was hanging out with girlfriends. I was living in Chattanooga, Tennessee for about 10 months. And I'd never forget one night, we went to this like little shack that was like a club. We stayed out and then we went from there the grocery store, the local grocery store. And like at 1 o'clock in the morning. And then from there, we drank champagne and we were just laughing all night. And I'm like, and I tried to tell my dad, I said, my hanging out is not just wilding out. It's just like just chilling and having fun. But my mother understood she is growing up. She's a grown woman. My father wanted to be the protector. Girls in my house, girls were different than boys. My brother got away with murder. I had to be the straight lace. And I was like, so anyway, but my mother started, she until her death, she kept an eye and kept communication going as friends. And also, if I ever needed, little advice, and I always leaned on her for advice, but I didn't really come into my womanhood until she died. Because the queen was gone. I was the queen in training, if you will. And I felt it. I felt the shift, but everything she taught me stayed with me. She was so consistent. So, and I guess that's one of the reasons why I wrote this book, Black Women Will Save the World, an Anthem. And I have a close relationship with my children. Oh, you know, like my daughter said, adulting is hard. And she's acting out. And I said, okay, you do what you're gonna do when you're ready to,
Get it together.
get it together. I'm here. And she was like, she got it together. I prayed, and I prayed a lot. And I said, I keep reflecting back on who I was and what my mother, our conversations were and how we went through it. And thank God, it's moved away. I mean, children are going to be who they are.
Yeah.
But it's up to us to say, okay, that may not be a good move. That's not the best decision. I'm not there to move them, but I'm like, it's about you. I've done all I can for you to be who you are. They're going to test the waters and experiment and test life. But I'm like, that may not be the best thing, but that's up to her to figure out. I'm not, and everything that I've taught her is coming back full circle. And that's what I appreciate. And that's what my mother did for me. But, when college, I saw the phase in college moving out. And then when she died, I was the one. I was
April,
of the family, I guess.
April, you've lived a lot of life, had a lot of friends that I've seen you support over the years. Tell me, in your opinion, I've struggled with this myself, so I'm just asking, is it easier if you suddenly lose a parent or if you have time to be able to do all the things and say all the things? Like,
it's been 15 years and I'm still struggling.
Okay, me too.
It's been 15 years. I'm still struggling. It's coming out. Like I said, I had to defer my grief because I was pregnant with my daughter who's now 15. And she's a force. Whew. But it's been, I think it comes out in different ways, remembering and writing the book. You know how to handle it. It doesn't hit you like it used to. I still dream about my mom. And I think that's her way of coming back to me to let me know everything is okay. And we just celebrated her birthday, November 5th, and my youngest daughter is November 3rd. So I'm like, oh my goodness, all this together. And then, but I started a new business too, as a result of her, I think, working through my grief. I've got a candle company. My fiance and I built a candle company, a very good candle company, because 15 years ago, I could not find soy candles. The doctor said she cannot have cannot have paraffin candles. She would have to have soy candles. We couldn't find soy candles back then. Mm-hmm. And, I said, I started just playing with it, building fragrances. I'm that person who'll get a chemistry kit and just go through it, And I said, I wonder what this would be like in a candle, or I wonder how this would, the soy candle thing, because I was pulling up soy candles after she died, because my mother died of leukemia and so did her sister. So I'm trying to be as healthy as I can, and I'm doing soy candles. And sometimes I'll find the fragrances that I like. I said, let me see. So my fiance, he was buying those large brands, and he was like, let me see. He's like this crafty guy. He is this, we call him officer and a gentleman. He's a retired naval officer. And if he wasn't a naval officer, he'd probably been a art teacher or something. So he was like, he said, well, I do candles. I said, don't you ever tell a woman you make candles. So we laughed. And so we started last Thanksgiving, we were playing around in the kitchen, and it became a hobby. And we were like, giving friends and stuff. And they were like, oh, these are great. These are really professional. And why did I tell my friend Ramunda Young over at Mahogany Books? Now we've got three businesses taking these candles, stocking the shelves with our candles, a fourth one possibly, because it's all born out of the love for my mother and, I guess my grief and working through the grief. And it's interesting. I mean, we did something totally different. We went straight to business
Mhm.
instead of straight to consumer. And now consumers are like, oh my God, where is this? And where can we get it? So we're trying to figure this thing out. And it's all born out of the love for my mother and going through that process, that grieving process. I guess that I'm still going through. But yeah,
That has
it's
to feel good though. It came out of something beautiful
it
rather
came
than
out of love. Yes, it does. And my fiance keeps saying that's a powerful story.
it
And it's
is.
hard to tell the story sometimes, but we have it, they have it displayed in the stores that carry it, but it's hard to tell the story. But I love her and I miss her. And it's so wonderful that this is something that my fiance and I are
Can
doing
do together.
together,
Yep.
doing together,
100%.
that bringing joy and making homes smell and spaces smell wonderful in a healthy way.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna need some. I got 4 kids, 3 boys, all athletes. Girl, I'm gonna need some candles.
Woo!
We're gonna need to
Well,
talk.
Jared can go
I'm gonna
on
need some
Instagram.
candles. I might need to be a reseller, but I need some candles, honey. I need
Jared
some candles.
Candles is on Instagram. Jared underscore candles.
Jer candles.
Um, yeah, we're working on the website now. So
I'm gonna be looking for them, ma'am. I'm gonna be looking. So
people are loving. I'm telling you, people are losing their minds over because I'm a candle person, and I'm a big candle person, and yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I don't want BO in my home either. I get it.
it's like, listen,
It
okay, moment
lingers.
a moment of privilege. I'm gonna tell you this. As they get older, they start developing, especially the boys, this like smell. And my boys, their rooms were downstairs. Girl, I walked downstairs one day and I was like, what is that? And then I went to go back upstairs and I almost felt like it was a cloud of just all to be damned. I was like,
It was
oh
a cloud of
no.
boy. It was a cloud of boy.
Boy, I was like, oh, we can't do this. Or every candle I can get my hands on. So Jer candles, yeah, I'm at it. I'm at it. So listen, White House correspondent, is this what you saw for yourself when you went to college?
I never imagined anything. I just thought I was going to be doing something in this field. And then to get here and then to be the longest, I'm like, what? I'm a kid from Baltimore, what you talking about? So,
I want
um,
to I want to educate the audience because some people that watch this don't understand everything we're going to talk about real quick. What is an urban issue? Can you be non-black and experience urban issues? Explain to the people what are urban issues.
thank you for that because it bothers me too. Everyone is consumed by different issues that they want answers for. You could be white living in an urban area and you're
Thank
still
you.
urban, right? But yet, urban is considered, it's the code word for black. And I'm like, no, we don't. So, and it's considered specialty media, et cetera, et cetera. I just am at the point where I'm just like, we got to stop this. The urban issue is considered Jackson, Mississippi, the water's not safe to drink, or Flint. Katrina was an urban issue. No, white people were impacted. Everyone was impacted. And I don't
Yes.
like hearing those kind of things. Putting groups in boxes, it's not okay. And, everyone needs answers. And why do you have to put urban issues in a certain box? It's an American issue. We're part of America that needs answers. So, according to what they used to call it specialty media or now urban media, it's part of America.
Okay. And then the N word. I want to
Oh,
talk about that.
I don't do it.
I want to talk about it this way. People feel like if they're not using the N word, it's not, it can't be racist or biased. Um, we know that's not true. Can you explain that, please?
Iyanla Van Zant said something so poignant, and it stuck with me. I've never liked the word. I've got older family members who say that, "Can you please stop?" And they say, well, and that's what they grew up on. But just because you grew up on it doesn't mean that you should call yourself or call anyone else that. So here's the deal. Ayala Van Zant said to me, she said that when they hung us, strange fruit hanging from a tree, when they hung us, when they lynched us, they were screaming the N word when they were lynching us. Why would I embrace that word? When they were killing us, when they came after us, why would we embrace that word? I don't embrace it. I am not that. And I don't like that or the B word because it's negative. The B word is a female dog, and I'm nowhere near a dog.
I
I
love
don't
that.
embrace either. I
I
don't.
love that. When you were working during the Clinton administration and the Trump administration, as crazy as the Trump administration was, the Clinton administration was kind of wild. It felt like there was a lot going on. I was young, so watching the news and it felt just like it was always something going on. Which one was
Every
wilder to
every
you?
presidency is newsy. Every presidency is newsy. That's
Okay.
that other book of mine. Every president is newsy. And every administration has been newsy. But I'm not going to put one over the other. I mean, Bill Clinton tried to do the race initiative, tried to heal the racial divide. But here's the issue. Um, Monica Lewinsky was that stumbling block. Impeachment was a stumbling block to deal with matters of race. But at the end of the day, George W. Bush had 9/11. George W. Bush had Katrina. George W. Bush had the Iraq War, Afghanistan and Iraq. You know, each president has something. And it's not always going to be peaches and cream, skipping through the tulips, but each president has something.
Being in the room, you've been the only several times.
Many, many times. And that's one of the reasons. And that's one of the reasons because you have to stand in those rooms. Because when you walk in the door, they see first your color and then your gender. And you have to be strong and stand in those rooms to get your question out, be seen and heard to make a difference so you can ask questions for the people who need them. And that's one of the reasons why I wrote that book, in those rooms where it happens. In those rooms, in that room 4 years ago, yeah, about 4 to 6 years ago, when Donald Trump was made president, he vilified Black women in those rooms because they were strong. That's one of the reasons why I wrote this book, Black Women Will Save the World, an anthem. Um, Being in those rooms where it happens as a Black woman can be tough. Valerie Jarrett in the book talks about imposter syndrome sometimes. And Valerie Jarrett, for all intents and purposes, her and Michelle Obama are the reason why Barack Obama was president of the United States.
Amen.
So, and then she talks in the book about imposter syndrome. Sometimes showing up in these spaces and not feeling like she belongs. That is crazy.
It's not just not feeling like they don't belong. They try to make you feel like you don't belong. It's not like you just
Oh
came
yeah.
up with this in your head. They literally go out of their way to disqualify you, no matter how many qualifications you have. So I guess that's my question is even being called out by the president of the United States, even being called out and acted a certain way towards you with all of your credentials and all of your accomplishments, still being made to feel like you are not supposed to be here. How do you find yourself still continuing to move forward with your chin up high and your chest out and your voice still loud because you're here to do a good job, not to please somebody else's ego? How do you do that? Like, I need you to walk me through that because in this moment, it's very important when women find themselves, as hard as they work, still being told you are not enough, your qualification is not enough for you to be here. Why do you think you're here? Who do you think you are? What is that? And how do you move through that?
So first of all, I consider the source who says I don't belong.
Good answer.
It's taken me a long time to get to that point. I consider the source. And then also, and like I said, it's taken me a long time. I literally have to, right now, I wouldn't be able to show up like this and be able to walk because I was walking in shock back then. I was walking, trying to make a living for my kids in the midst of death threats and that former president calling me out of my name, et cetera, et cetera. All his little minions coming after me. But I have a standing appointment every Tuesday morning at 8:15 with a counselor. So I can focus and I can understand it's not me. A lot of times when people attack you, it's about their insecurities or something that they feel they're lacking or something that they want that you have or it's something about them. It's not necessarily about me. And I had to see that. I didn't do anything to them. I just asked questions. I've been asking the same questions over and over. And for whatever reason, you don't like it. And we know why they don't like it because there's a lot of racism and animus there.
Black women will save the world. So, talk to me about your writing process, how it was different than maybe some of the other work that you've done, because this is obviously a lot more personal, but also reading your writings, you can tell that I see your personality. I can read your personality. I can hear your personality. How was this project different than any of the other work that you have ever done?
Hmm. You know, well, it's a whole new. I'm with a large house. I'm with HarperCollins, Amistad, imprint of HarperCollins, and I'm with a whole new machine. It's a big machine,
Okay.
and the team, and they were they were producing a win, and it was different with them, and the team was different, and how we collaborated and worked this thing out and talked it through. I had a vision, and they said, "Wait a minute, why don't we add in, Martha's Vineyard?" I said, while I was there, I said, "Huh, that's a good idea because that's my place of respite." And I had the greatest stories from Martha's Vineyard, and they pulled out so much more from me than what I was doing, and it just they look. This is what they do for a living. They believe they make success. So I said, okay, I didn't fight it and I went with the flow, and we are now in a second printing. Something that is really unheard of in COVID. Okay, we still in COVID, y'all. Um, we are still in COVID. Granted, we're not dying in the pandemic. The pandemic part is over, but we still in COVID because I'm hearing about numbers going up at the White House and other places too. So do what you got to do to take care of yourself. I'm gonna be wearing my mask. But no, the process was, the process is different, but we are in a second printing. I'm back at number one again this morning. It's just been amazing. Look, in the first 2 weeks we sold out. We did 17,000 books in the first 2 weeks of this, right? And I'm just it's just an honor.
I remember hearing Sunny Hostin say something about Martha's Vineyard when she writes. Now, listen, are y'all friends? Do y'all go there and write
Yeah.
together? What is this
We're friends.
black
We
woman?
actually hung out. We ran into each other a couple times and hung out. I'll never forget me, Yamish, and Nicole Hannah Jones. We were over at Nancy's just laughing and lying, having a good time. And people were over there looking. I mean, everyone that we know kind of takes a jaunt every now and again to Martha's Vineyard, depending upon what time. And we actually hung out. We had a beautiful time there. So Martha's Vineyard is a special place. It's a very special place. I did a lot of work this time there, but I write there. I've got some ideas about stories from Martha's Vineyard. Look, they even tried to make a little show, a TV show out of it, but Martha's Vineyard is not a city. It is a town that you will not find McDonald's, Walmart, or Target. Okay, it's very quaint. It's my peace. It's my peace. Martha's Vineyard is very peaceful.
What is it about black women and their girlfriend circle? What is that about that empowers us so much to, no matter what happened in the day at work with your kids, when you have that moment with your girlfriends, just some sister girls, and that laugh, that
It's always an uplift or a laugh because you feel like a connection. There's somebody who understands me. And that's what we talk about in the book, sisterhood. Sisterhood is so important to our survival because if indeed you didn't have that, you'd be like tense and like, you want somebody to be able to, because it's nice that your man can rub your back, but a sister can feed your soul.
man.
Like, girl, I've been through that. I just keep going. It's something that we give one another because we understand there's no other woman in this nation that has to carry the loads that we have to carry. And when you find another sister who's doing it at the same time, the same way, or she's been through it already, her test is a testimony to you to help you get through it, not stay there, but get through it. That's what sisterhood is to me. That's
Speaking
what.
of sisterhood, Delta Sigma Theta. Why Delta?
Why not Delta? Let me tell you something.
Come with it. Come
Yes.
through.
Yes. So I think they're amazing. They're spectacular. The service that they give, the uplift that they give, the hope that they push, it's just amazing. I love service. I am someone of service, and to be connected to this wonderful group of women, these hundreds of thousands of women, it's something. Since 1913, we've been doing the damn thing. We're going to
Absolutely.
continue to do it. It's so much more than just saying the name. It's the embodiment of a community of women that lifts up, that pushes, holds people accountable for the betterment of society.
Say that. Say that. April Mysore, Sydney Kamlager just won her seat out here in California, and she's headed to DC. What kind of advice would you give her? Because she's leaving Cali and she's going to be in DC. I think she might be the only Black Greek in DC right now. Uh, no,
No.
well, maybe she's
Got a
only
lot
Zeta.
in DC. You got a lot of Greeks.
Maybe she's only Zeta right now. But
Maybe, but no, but like Stacey Plaskett is my Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett is
that's
my
right.
source. There's a lot of them up there. This source.
Okay.
What I would tell her, just be mindful. It's a different world from where you come from. So
How so? How so?
so
And yeah, how so?
Washington D.C. Let's not even talk. Let's talk about the federal quadrant because Washington D.C. is a community where people live. But let's talk about the federal quadrant.
Mhm.
It's a lonely place, and when you have to find your footing at the very beginning and find allies, figure out what you're going to do and how to work. The beginning is a learning experience, and being placed in committee and then figuring out how to connect to people so you can work on bills, sponsor bills, etc. It's like being a freshman, and she's going to be called a freshman. It's like being called a freshman in college
Mm.
because it's your learning, it's your novice moment of getting there. And there are going to be moments where she rises and falls, but there's a lot of pressure on a freshman because the community still wants a lot as you are learning a lot.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Real quick, I'm a member of NABJLA. I know you've gotten awards, NAACP Image Awards, and you're a part of NABJ. What are organizations like that? Why are they so important to us? Like, talk to the people and explain to them why organizations, professional organizations that support us, why they're important, and why do you continue to be members of those types of organizations?
Well, like you said, you just said it. They support us. When people are targeting you, they support us. When you need to network, when you are in trouble in the midst of trying to figure out where, when I say trouble, trying to figure out where your next paycheck is going to be, or I'm leaving this job, I need to find one. It's a great resource for networking. So what I will tell you is organizations are very important for the uplift of you professionally and networking and personally. And I'm a member, I fully support. And particularly for young people, they have very good programs that help a lot of young people begin the process of finding their footing in this very hard to crack field, and then climb the ladder. So yes, I'm a full supporter of organizations like that.
I love it. Before I let you go, I want to take you back to the book really quick. In my own writing process, there are moments that were just overpowering. Like I had to stop writing because it was a lot. What were some of the most cathartic moments for you um, in writing your book? What did that feel like, and how did you get past that?
The best moments were interviews for me,
Okay.
when I learned, like, from Valerie Jarrett talking about the imposter syndrome, or Keisha Lance Bottoms, where she said, people still challenge her. Who told you that? Like, she can't think for herself. You know, Stacey Abrams, those are the best moments, because I I'm like, wow. And when I go wow, I make sure those moments are in the book. I love to hear stories. Everything and everyone has a story, and I love to find out the backstory. And that's what makes my writing so important to me and cathartic, because it gives me something to write. Because a lot of times you see these people on TV, oh, they've got it going on. They don't ever have any problems. But when I write, it helps you understand you're not alone. And that's the cathartic piece. And it also helped me realize, hmm, if she got it, I see why I get it. So that's the cathartic piece. It's kind of almost like Oprah did with her show. It's like those aha moments, like, oh yeah,
Mm,
I get it. And it makes you a better person. Because I mean, I believe in what I write, and I write because it's so impactful. And if it's impactful to me, because I still consider myself, even though I report from this loft perch, I still consider myself that girl from Baltimore, that girl who just trying to make it work, trying to put it together. You never take yourself too seriously. You never believe your press releases. I'm still that girl
mm.
from Baltimore. I'm still that girl from Baltimore.
I love that. When's the wedding?
Next year. Next, next October. We're less than a year away.
Awesome. I'm excited for you. Happy engagement,
Thank you.
happy book, happy career. What isn't going right for you right now? What?
Oh, there's a lot, but let me tell you
I
something.
don't know.
There's every day. You know what? I'm thankful for the blessings and the pluses, but trust and believe there are negatives. This one, I'm sitting here with bags under my eyes. What's going on? I'm tired. The election night. I'm trying, like, last night. Let me tell you something. I had a bath bomb, and my fiance was like, "Why did you do that with the bath bomb? Why did you put the bath bomb in there?" I said, "Because I want it. It had some properties to help me uh, uh, relax, I go to sleep." I said, "I just need a good night's sleep." I said, "Because I've been rolling and rolling." But I'm thankful for my blessings, and I
Mhm.
never take them for granted. And I'm just thankful. It's taken a lot. I had a lot of stumbles and scraped knees and a lot of tears. And I'm not saying I don't have them now, but I'm in a better place than I was, and I'm just so thankful for it.
Well, we are thankful for you. You have been a blessing today.
Oh,
I have a couple books that I'm going to be giving away to some of my viewers.
oh,
And
that's
I just want to wish you all the best. If you ever have anything else going on, hopefully I can run into you in LA somewhere. But I just want to wish you the best. And I want to thank you for being here.
Thank you, Tanya. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Let the people know how they can keep up with you and continue to support you and your
Okay.
work. You guys, the website is scrolling down.
Yeah.
A lot of
And
information in the caption, but let them know how they can keep up and support you, not just follow you, but support you.
I'm on Instagram at ADR1600. I'm on the Twitter for now. What's that? Well, I don't know, because it's like,
You
oh,
didn't even get into that
um,
mess.
I know, April D Ryan, and on Facebook, April D Ryan. And the candle company, Jare underscore candles. That's on Instagram. So, and it's just, that's how you can keep up.
Awesome.
I'm a mother. I'm a mother. I'm a fiance.
And a
I
daughter.
and a daughter. And I'm a White House correspondent. I'm every person, and I'm still. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a mom. I'm an author. I'm an employee, and I'm still trying to make it work. So if you, I'm every woman. I'm every person, and I just appreciate the connection with people, and connect with me because we can help each other through this thing called life.
I love it. Listen, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you, Tanya. Be well. Bye. Take care, everyone.
Listen, y'all, stop playing. If you don't have the book, get the book. Stay connected. And let me hear your feedback. I would love to hear what you think. If you had any other questions for her, anything you're wondering, but she's done some great work. Have you ever felt like you were dealing with imposter syndrome? And then how did you get through it? Have you been writing a book? Where do you write at? What is your process? A lot of stuff to think about, but just make sure that, you give yourself some time, ingest, process, and, let's talk about it. So feel free to leave your comments below. I'd love to hear what you're thinking. And until next time, I'll see you soon.